Ah, didn't see you there. Well, I've heard you want to hear about Prader-Willi syndrome. So, it's a genetic disorder. It's caused by loss of function in certain genes, epigenetic. Interestingly, that is in chromosome 15, a group of genes in chromosome 15. It causes extreme feeding problems, hyperphagia as a subset of that, or insatiable appetite and obesity, obsession with food. Absolutely loves it. It can also cause muscle tone failures or like lack of development in muscle tone, so developmental delay. It's caused by the loss of the SNRPN gene, which encodes a component of mRNA splicing, which basically means that mRNA isn't being able to be spliced, so you end up with more introns and exons. So it's very similar to Angelman disease, except it's a loss of the paternal component of chromosome 15 instead of the maternal component on chromosome 15. Remember that one, it's important. Finally, extra points, it often leads to obesity and diabetes type 2 because of the overeating and the obsession with food. It affects the hypothalamus, and this explains why it has these effects, because the hypothalamus regulates the growth and also control hunger. Hi guys, I thought I'd just clear it up real quick and make it easier for you guys to copy down the information. So, first column, genetic disorder, is caused by loss of function in certain genes. Now this is going to be what tells us that it's an epigenetic problem, because it's caused by loss of function in certain genes. The symptoms and extreme feeding, it's hyperphagia. If you don't know what hyperphagia is, that basically means that you have an insatiable appetite and you have no regulation of your hunger. Therefore, if you eat, you will still feel hungry and therefore keep wanting to eat. So I can't imagine the torture that it is to always feel hungry. But yeah, that kind of sucks. But just sucks. Regular sucks. It also leads to lack of muscle tone and developmental delay. Which is basically you just look like a child for longer. It's sort of you don't necessarily develop as fast, and I don't even think maybe you develop certain things, like they have more childish features in their face. Yeah. Okay. So next section. It's caused by loss of the SNRPN gene, which is complete nonsense to me, but it's a gene that codes. It encodes for a component of mRNA splicing, so as you can imagine, without the SNRPN gene, and you can't splice mRNA properly, you're going to end up with extra bits of DNA left up after pre-mRNA is going into mRNA because you're not splicing it properly. Therefore, it's going to have more unnecessary DNA, I guess, which isn't great. It's similar to Angelman's disease, disorder. But it's a loss of the paternal component instead of the maternal component, and it's caused but it is on chromosome 15, which is nice to know. Finally, just some extra little bits. It often leads to obesity or diabetes type 2, which obviously you can see how that leads to that. It's just the hyperphagia leading to the obesity or diabetes type 2. The developmental delay doesn't really lead to anything else. That is the problem itself. And it affects the hypothalamus, which is part of the brain near the front, which is supposed to regulate growth and hunger. Now you can see here clearly that the growth part is going to lead to the lack of muscle tone, because without regulating growth, they're not going to get as much muscle. They'll have developmental delay. And the hunger, the lack of regulation of hunger, is going to lead to that hyperphagia. So the mRNA not being spliced leads to issues in the hypothalamus. That leads to lack of growth and hunger regulation, which leads to, over here, the hyperphagia and the lack of muscle tone and developmental delay. Hope that clears things up, and thanks for watching.